Roll Tide, Alabama. Yep, they are rolling. We're going to get into it. Not perfect, but the result is all that matters. You got to figure out a way to get a win. So we're going to get into that after another nice shellacking of LSU. They knocked out their quarterback, or at least they got him benched. I think Mike might be falling in love with this Swarm defense. I don't know. I'm going to ask him all that right here on the Bama Tailgate Show, brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Make sure that if you want to do that Vegas-style sports book, the Timeout Sports Lounge, Golden Moon Casino, hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. They got all the major sports. So let's get this show started. And I love saying it, though. Roll Tide. There he is, legendary man himself, Mr. Mike Johnson. I'm Mick Gillespie.
What up, man?
That was that was a good win. People called the post-game show on the next round. Some of them were a little concerned, and I got to remind everybody, I feel like Nick Saban after the Arkansas game when they won 14-13. You find a way to win the game. You're not always going to have your best stuff. They did that. Am I worried about the run game? We'll get into why I am. But at the end of the day, Mike, last year, would you have taken a 20-9 win over Oklahoma? Would you have taken that against Michigan? This team's finding a way to win. They know how to win. You could tell in that ball game they weren't going to lose. And I got to start with that. I'm pretty proud of the effort.
Wow, look, would I take a 29 win over Oklahoma last year? Absolutely. I'd take a 20-9 win over Oklahoma this year. Let's just lay that out there. I'm with you, man. It's different than it ever has been, right? Because I think that when you look at the 12-team playoff, the survive and advance thing week to week, you've run such a gauntlet that I feel like, I don't know, my emotion, I know Bama fans don't all share this emotion. My emotion is like, I feel like I'm playing with house money right now. Like, year 2 of DeBoer is just, it's been pretty unbelievable. After the loss to Florida State, I was like, this is not good. Like, everybody's asking how much the buyout is. Like, we have all these questions about Ty Simpson, and they've completely flipped it, man. Did they play this sparkling brand of football on Saturday? Absolutely not. But you played LSU. That's a rivalry game. That's a game that you need to go win. It was 20-9. I know it was a one-score game late there in the second half, but I don't know. At no point did I feel like LSU was going to do enough to really threaten, even though they had some really crucial dropped passes and some things like that. But it is what it is, man. Our defense has stepped up to the task more times than not, really playing a great brand of football. And it feels like the entire locker room's, bought in. And I'm with you, man. A win's a win's a win. 29 is a good win, an 11-point win. Keep in mind, I think the spread was 10, so you actually even covered this one, even though it was ugly.
I know.
And you couldn't get it done on the ground at times. I'm fine with it. I am. I think we're a flawed football team, but I think every team in the country has flaws. I don't think there's a team without flaws when you look around at some of the other teams involved in this. So it is what it is, and we'll hopefully scratch and claw and try to get another one this coming Saturday.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Mike, I love your shirt. I've been complimenting you on that. A lot going on there, but it looks cool. First thing.
Pretty busy, right?
Yeah, but I love that.
Sorry, man.
The thing I really want to know, though, is about this offensive line. I was talking to a guy that played at Alabama today, spent some time in the NFL, and he said to me, thinks it's the weakest unit on the team. He's like, I really like these guys as people. He goes, but running the football is a mentality, and they don't have it. And he felt like they're the weakest unit on the team. Obviously, he's not talking about Caden Proctor, but I think as good of a guy as Wilkin Formby is, misses some blocks, and they just, I don't know. I mean, you give me your assessment. I mean, sometimes if we don't know the O-line like you do, we're missing something. What are we missing?
Well, first of all, you can tell that dude to shut his mouth. No, I'm just kidding. No.
listen here.
No, but I even wore my, do you see my hat right there? It says lineman on it. It's got a little electrical worker. Even wore my hat for you today with that one. No, man, look, I think there's a lot more to it than that. And I've spent some time talking about this, and you and I talked about this a long time ago. There's so many good things to be said about Ryan Grubb and his offense and Kalen DeBoer's offense and everything they bring to the table. But the one thing you will never be able to sell me on is Ryan Grubb's run game. And this is not a this year thing. Remember, the Seattle Seahawks, and you know that I cover the Atlanta Falcons for work. The Seattle Seahawks came to town last year to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and scouting the Seahawks last year when Ryan Grubb was there, I was like, this is one of the worst rushing teams I've ever seen. Everything was out of sync. The timing on the blocks, the abilities of the running backs, everything was a complete dumpster fire. And they had injuries up front. They did all this. They had all these problems. You fast forward, make a change at offense coordinator. It's one of the best offenses in the NFL. Sam Darnold's rolling. The run game's rolling. They're doing a lot of good things. Let me just remind everybody out there what Kalen DeBoer is. All right. And this is not an offensive line mentality thing. Now, they have to, don't get me wrong, Mick. Let me stop right there. Don't get this twisted. They've got problems. But this is a unit. Look back at Washington when Ryan Grubb, when Kalen DeBoer, when Michael Penix, when all those guys were back at Washington just a couple of years ago. They had the number 106th ranked rushing yards per game unit in college football, outside of the top 100. Can I tell you another secret about that team, Mick? That offensive line won the Joe Moore Award that year.
Wow.
They won the Joe Moore Award as the best offensive line in college football, and they couldn't run the football. They were outside of the top 100. So I say all that not because I'm trying to take up for the offensive line, but I'm trying to put it in context of what is actually going on here. Ryan Grubb does a great job of the passing game. Kalen DeBoer, same way. They have a lot of ability up front. I really feel like, and I've said this to you at least 3 or 4 times throughout the season, I really feel like when you look at the individual blocks up front, they are good blocks. There's right. Some really nice blocks being made. I thought that at some point Jam Miller would really get it going. I think when you looked at a number of games this season, it was like, oh, Jam Miller's going to hit he's going to get it going eventually. But we really do lack playmakers at multiple positions when it comes to the run game. We don't have Robbie Oots. We have decent blockers.
Right.
Oots kind of guys. We do struggle at times at different positions on the offensive line, which I honestly thought would probably happen. And I don't think we have that difference maker at running back that we've grown so accustomed to at Alabama. We don't even have anybody to the level of a Damian Harris, much less a Derrick Henry or a Josh Jacobs or Mark Ingram, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. Schematically, I think they're trying to do things the right way, but I wish they would, try to block some quicker hitting runs and things like that. But it is what it is, man. This is kind of how our offense is designed, and hopefully they can get it straightened out here in the stretch run.
Yeah, well, and I think you're right about this. Like, you put the nail on the head. Before we panic about not being able to run the ball, first off, remember that. And they lost the national championship game to a team that outspent them and had more talent, but they got there. They won their league. They beat Oregon twice. The other thing is that Ryan Grubb draws up plays that almost act as runs, where he's using the perimeter, getting better matchups. I think that there's going to come a game where, like the Vandy game, where Alabama's going to have the run as the main emphasis of their game plan, and they'll run. But I think the why I'm not panicking is that we didn't bring in a guy in an offense that is predicated on success in the run. As a matter of fact, Ryan Grubb got fired, like you said, after going 10-6 in Seattle. So it's not like they were slouches. They actually did really good. He made Geno Smith a superstar. What's Geno doing now? And yeah. Right. And the bottom line is this, is that it might not look the exact same, but it almost reminds me a little bit of Mike Leach, where it's like, hey, look, we're going to throw to run, right? Even though it's with short passes, we're going to set you up on screens and some of this other stuff, jet sweeps, and we're going to get run, yards like that. And I think that Alabama has made up for the lack of being able to just straight up run with those things.
Yeah, look, it kind of goes back to, how many times under Saban, Alabama had identity crisis. Like every 3 years, Bama would have these identity crisis moments where it was like, oh man, we don't want to go with the hurry up. That's not kind of who we are as a team. We're in the trenches. We're going to grind it out 4 yards, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, whatever it is. We don't want to go hurry up. And then it was like, okay, we're going to go hurry up. And man, we don't want to have a team with the quarterback run. And then, Blake Sims takes over, another, Jalen Hurts comes in, and all of a sudden the quarterback run's a good thing. We don't want to run the spread. We hire Lane Kiffin. We run the spread. So and we go through these identity crises where it's supposed to look a certain way. And we're supposed to be, granted, if it comes down to a situation, Mick, where we are 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and we can't pick up 2 yards, then I think we're having these conversations. And there has been those. Don't get me wrong. There's been those times throughout the season where it's frustrating. But, this is not like we're just getting completely shut down. It's hit or miss. And so I think, Jam Miller missed so much time this year, and then he got concussed. I'm hoping that that's still the answer. But for some reason, the spacing between our blocks and the timing of our running backs is not there. I don't know if we need to hit the hole harder. I don't know if it's a play design thing. I don't love the track of our pullers a lot of times when we're pulling guards. I don't think our pulling guards get north and south quick enough. Maybe that's a schematic thing. Maybe that's a defensive front thing. It seems like more times than not we're running kick out blocks and running counter, counter G. So I don't know. There needs to be better acceleration from the running back spot. There needs to be more lateral agility where you can kind of bounce from one hole to the next and then get through the hole very quickly. But I don't know. It just, for whatever reason, it doesn't worry me long term because we're so good at the small things. And you mentioned it, the extension of the run game, out to the flat, Ryan Williams on a screen, Jeremy Bernard, all these other pieces where we can hit guys, and tight ends are starting to get involved in the passing game as well to a high level.
Well, Bama did enough. I thought Ty Simpson had not his best game, but again, he just knows how to win. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He had the strip sack. I don't blame that on him. I wish he would have got rid of the ball faster, but you know what? I mean, I'm not back in the pocket throwing the ball. Missed a couple deep passes, made a lot of passes. He doesn't make the big mistake, and he's competitive, man. I just get this vibe. And I'll give your guy, John Parker Wilson, some of the same love. I've compared the Jake Coker factor. These quarterbacks that go out there and bust their ass, aren't afraid to take a hit, and really kind of captive. The team gets behind these guys because they're just like us. There's no, you don't get that superstar vibe with this guy. And I think teams love playing for quarterbacks that they feel like are kind of on the same level. Does that make sense?
Dude, well, here's the thing, man. How many times have I told you this? You don't want to be a palms up guy. You want to be a palms down guy. And I think that so many times when there is something wrong with this offense, I don't think Ty Simpson's is maybe, a handful of times this year has looked out there and been like, oh, dude, you messed up. Oh, dude, come on. You got to do, you got to run this route. You got to do this. Most of the other pieces of the offense are functioning at a pretty high level, right? It's Ty Simpson overthrew a guy by a fingertip. Oh, this, and most of the time he's making those throws. So right. I think that Ty Simpson, and this is how I always felt as a player, I wanted the leader to blame themselves first, man. I tried to take on that persona also. Like, did you miss the block? Yeah. Did I miss one 4 plays ago? Yeah. If I don't make mine, I can't ask you to make your every single block. So I'm going to work my butt off to make sure that I can make mine so that when you don't make yours, that it doesn't matter as much. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's how Ty Simpson operates. It's not you got to do this better or you got to do that better. It's, dude, I've got to play better. And you hear that in his post-game pressers. You hear that in the way he approaches the media. I firmly believe he thinks that way. I firmly believe that when he says, I didn't have my best game, I've got to play better, I need to make this throw, I need to make that check, I think that he genuinely thinks that. I don't think it's some kind of coach speak where he's trying to sound a certain way. I think that he operates that way in practice every day too. And I think when you have that kind of leader, your guys playing around you are going to rally around that and say, man, he's doing everything he can possible. This is a guy that, is probably a Heisman finalist at this point. I think I can try to ask myself a little bit extra as well.
So now Bama starts to focus on Oklahoma. And this Oklahoma game is one to me that is going to be tough. Not only is Oklahoma a good team, but Oklahoma allegedly is great at stealing signs. And it really felt like last year that they knew what play Alabama was going to run before Alabama ran the play. I worked with Clint Lamb. Clint says that they were doing it. I believe him. I don't know what to look for there other than it just seemed like they always knew what we were going to do. How, as a offense or as a defense, do you work through a team that is good at doing something like that? How do you prevent that?
Well, and it's different now too. Well, not now, but it has been for the last couple of years since I played. That now they can have the coach comm and everything going on with the ear, and that just wasn't a thing. It was all signals when I was in college. You know what I mean? They had 3 different guys set up giving signals, and nobody ever knew which one was the actual guy giving signals.
Right.
And now there's still signals out there. God knows they used to freaking put it out there on a poster board at Auburn a few years back, and you just had to decipher which one they were doing. It's nothing new, and shame on us if we allowed them to do it. I mean, there's a reason they're actual signals, and you're not just sitting there with a megaphone going, "Hey, run power,"
Right.
because otherwise they would just know it was coming every place. So there's not a simple way to answer that. There's not a way to say, "Oh, this is how we need to deal with it. That's how we need to deal with it." Do you need to get the guy with the big black sheet on the PVC behind our signals? Maybe. But I think that, given all the circumstances around everything that we're trying to do this year, I think we're just in a much better place. Now, all that to say, Mick, that I've been saying all along, the people in my circles, I've been saying all along, this is the one that gets us.
Yeah.
I think that John Mateer has that moxie, that X factor as a quarterback where he can make plays with his legs. Lord knows we saw Oklahoma do it without a passing game last year against us.
Yeah.
And I think that they are probably, let me think about this, probably the best defensive front we're going to see this year.
Yeah.
Apologies to Georgia, who can't really rush the passer. Auburn's a good unit. I don't want to sleep on them, but that's got its problems in and of itself. LSU's a decent unit, but they were without some of their best players in the front 7. So, yeah, I think Oklahoma's probably the best defensive front we're going to see this year. I think you talk about that run game or talk about that pass protection. I think our offensive line's got to play as good as they've played all season if we're going to actually sustain drives. So this is this game to me, more so than any of the other ones, is the one that I look at and go, oh, crap. This is a team that really, with a win over Bama, can possibly stamp a trip to the playoff. I mean, right. They're right there on the edge of it. So I know that they're out for blood. I know that John Mateer is getting more and more healthy with the surgery he had a couple of weeks ago, and that's a scary, scary spot. Thank goodness it's in Tuscaloosa. I'll say that much.
Yeah, me too. Guys, I want to remind you that we are going to be at the Floor Bama with the Tailgate Show on Friday, November 28th from 1 to 3 in the Big Tent. Mike and I have history there. And Mike, I want you to come because I'm going to stay sober this time. I promise.
I mean, look, there's no telling. I'd love to. I'm going down to Pensacola for Thanksgiving, and I'll obviously be down there. I'm gonna try to make it back. I think to Atlanta in time to watch the Iron Bowl that Saturday, and then I got to work on that Sunday. I can't remember who the Falcons play that Sunday, but that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. The way the Falcons are playing. If
you come to the show, we're going to be giving these away. Also, we'll be at Innisfree this Friday to record the Tailgate Show, which is our Bama pregame show. But look at this. These are the swags. Now, if you can't get there in person and you're like, I need one of those trucker hats, QR code's right there under the screen. And join Mick Nation, Avenue D, because we've got enough of these to give away in person and also for weekly winners as well. But you get cash prizes. We got tickets for the Eastern Illinois game we're giving away as well. So get on there, pick some games, and we're going to grab somebody at random. Eastern Illinois. These are good seats, though. Thank our friends for doing it for us at Avenue D. All right. Alabama in the SEC, when you look at the way that the standings kind of line up right now, in good position to make the college football playoff. Obviously, I don't want them to lose any games. I want them to take care of Oklahoma. I want to win another Iron Bowl, right?
Yeah.
But if they say they lose one of these 2 games, I still think Alabama makes the playoff with 2 losses.
I would say that, first of all, there's no doubt in my mind with 2 losses that they would make, especially if you were to lose to an 11th or 12th ranked Oklahoma team. I think you're in good standing. I'm curious, and we talked about this a little bit last week. I'm curious to get your thoughts. Like, how badly do you want to play in the SEC championship game?
Dude, I was going to ask you the same question. Honestly, I want to play in it. I want to win it. I want number 30 as far as SEC titles. I think that it's an opportunity for this team to be a champion. You were a champion. You were on both sides of that game. Now, I know that as far as the importance to win a national championship, to have an extra game, all those bad things that can happen when you play are there. But I think as long as you're playing in a game where they're giving out championships, I want Alabama to win that game.
I think this has been really tough for me. This has been a point of contention because I've talked to Georgia fans about this. And as it stands right now, if Alabama were to play Texas A&M, I really think it depends on the margin of victory either way as to whether or not Georgia gets a first-round bye in the playoffs. As it stands right now. Now, they've got their own problems. They've got to play Texas this weekend. They've got to play Georgia Tech to end the year. But if Alabama and Texas A&M were to hold steady and Georgia were to hold steady at 3, 4, and 5, it just stinks to me that you could see Alabama. Their possibility lies in there that Alabama goes to play A&M in an SEC championship, loses by 10 points. I'm not saying they will, but just it's always a possibility. And the possibility that Georgia could skip them and go into the 4 seed. And you know what I mean? And Bama slide back to 4, 5, and 6, or 5, 6, 7 because they've got 2 losses.
Right.
And Georgia get a bye in the first round just to me seems asinine. Like no way that would happen, right?
I don't know.
It can't be a close law. I can think of if Bama or Texas A&M played and everything held status quo all the way through the end of the year, and Texas A&M has to play Texas and everything else.
Yeah,
I think that I think if that's a close game in the SEC championship, I think they both get a first round bye.
Yeah, I do too.
But okay, let me just flip this back around. Like, let's just say Bama, Texas A&M play. Bama wins that one. Texas A&M takes a bad loss to Bama, worse than the one Georgia took, and they slide out. If both have a loss to Alabama, and Texas A&M slides out and has to play a first round game. Now, granted, probably be a home game. But I think Georgia, just for a lot of different reasons of not right now being in the SEC championship game conversation, there's a lot of upside to that, man. Like there is a lot of upside, and they also have opportunities to play top 15 teams for the next couple of weeks to really, stamp their profile here in the committee's minds.
Yeah, I'm looking at this so Texas A&M and Texas play. That means somebody's going to lose. Yeah. Georgia and Texas play. That means somebody's going to lose.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is the team that's sitting there in the catbird seat to me because all they got to do is beat Mississippi State, who finds a way to lose, even though I don't think they're that bad of a football team, although they got destroyed by Georgia. But some of the losses that they've had this year have been excruciating. The Florida loss was terrible. The Tennessee loss was disgusting. And the worst one was the Texas loss where they were up 21 late and blew it.
Speaking of the Florida loss, because I thought really, in Florida beat Ole Miss last year. And I thought, man, Florida's one of those teams that, given the talent they have, given the right situation, they could make a run at Ole Miss. And then I watched Florida play this past weekend against Kentucky. Buddy, that locker room's cashed it in. Like, they're done. They don't want any part of being there. Business decisions all over the place.
Right.
DJ Lagway got benched. I mean, they're not going to beat Ole Miss. And then I watched Mississippi State against Georgia. And as hard as I think Mississippi State plays, they can't stop the run. Mississippi State's probably not going to beat Ole Miss either, although crazy things happen in the Egg Bowl. But, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. That's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, Ole Miss is sitting in the driver's seat here going, dude, probably not going to get a first-round bye, for Ole Miss. But you could definitely see a scenario where they skate through, don't play in the SEC title game, play a first-round game in Oxford, Mississippi, and probably against what would be a 10 seed at that point. That's a pretty good spot to be in if you're Ole Miss.
Dude, I got those guys being in the SEC championship game possibility, right? So say, here's the scenario. Georgia beats Texas. Texas beats Texas A&M. Bama loses to Oklahoma or Auburn, which could happen, and then all of a sudden Ole Miss has just got to beat Mississippi State and they're in.
So my question would be, who would Ole Miss play in that conversation?
It would be, I think it would be Texas A&M. No, I think it would be. You think so? If Texas A&M lost to Texas, and that was it.
It wouldn't be Georgia because Bama's got a head-to-head over them.
Yeah, so, but Texas A&M loses to Texas. They still only have one loss.
Well, Texas only has one loss too, though.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I get him. Okay, so that because Georgia's losing.
Well, okay, so
No, I
maybe
got Georgia
if
beating
Texas beats Georgia,
yeah,
Texas ain't going to beat Georgia and Texas A&M, though. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, they're going to win one, maybe one of those.
If they can win one, they've really done something.
And then you're right. So it would be Georgia would have one loss. Bama would have, say, one loss. Texas A&M would have one loss. Ole Miss would have one loss. So you got 4 teams with one loss. This is the confusing part. And I think that some of these teams would love to opt out.
They need to do, I'm telling you, the SEC needs to put out like one of the, you ever go to like look for a loan and it's like a loan calculator?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if I get this rate in this term,
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like we just fill out the rest of the schedule and see who goes to the SEC title game because there's so many freaking tiebreakers. You can't even see straight with some of these. And I mean, there's, God knows, I mean, just on top of that, there's 2 lost teams back there as well that are just creeping. I mean, like we just talked about Oklahoma, Vanderbilt's back there. I mean, you get in the right situation, that gets a little hairy as well. So it's nuts, man. The whole thing's crazy. But it's weird because I think Bama fans have a lot of pride, and I'm the same way. And I actually had a Georgia guy go off me the other day because I was like, you know, there's just no bright side. There's no upside to playing in the SEC title game. It's not like, okay, hey, you go and win the SEC championship, you get a first round bye. Even if you lose the SEC championship in the right circumstances, you can still get a first round bye.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you could lose SEC championship and somebody who didn't play on championship weekend gets a first round bye. So, and you know, I had a Georgia fan come at me. He's like, man, you're soft. You something happens to you former players where you get in the media and you turn soft. And I'm like, dude, my answer was this. And you might have seen me have this conversation on Twitter. There's a reason the helmet on game day and everywhere else says 18 on the side of it, bro. It doesn't say 30 for the SEC championships. It says 18. That's the end goal in all of this. The SEC championship was, dude, I played in it twice. Lost once, won once. Greatest feeling I ever had was walking off the field after we beat Florida and Tim Tebow and ended their dynasty. I mean, it's unmatched, unparalleled. But this is, dude, college football is different now, man. It's completely different than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's so it is funny to me listening to people call you soft now that you're in the media.
Oh, he got me worse than that. It's funny. I don't even respond because I'm like, dude, you're probably trying to get, you know, your Twitter followers up or something. It's another chapter in what I deal with over here in the city of Atlanta, Mick. It's just the world over here, baby. And I'll hold the flag up proudly.
It's the funny thing though is how passionate everybody is over
crazy, right?
Over college football. Are they just passionate about the NFL?
No. Well, when the Falcons are good, yeah. I mean, the Falcons get a good following when they're good, but the passionate NFL fans in Atlanta are transients because their dad. I mean, just like you, right? I mean, you're not a Falcons fan. You're a Ravens fan.
I'm a Raven.
Yeah, I mean, like, and you're a Ravens fan because everybody in Atlanta is the same way as you are, man. Grew up in Baltimore, grew up in Philly, grew up in Chicago, grew up in New York. Very few people are like, oh, 3rd generation Atlantan. The rich, proud history of the Atlanta Falcons have led me to a lifelong red and black, you know, like it just doesn't really happen that much. But
the Ravens have this running back named Derrick Henry. If you haven't seen this guy yet, you ought to check him out.
He's pretty good. I've heard his name
pretty good.
before.
Where's he from?
They used to have a running back named Mark Ingram as well for a year or two there. So he's pretty good too.
Another one. They also had a guy named Kenyon Drake there for a while too.
Don't forget Marlon Humphrey.
Speedy back. Yeah, he's still there. And Ozzie Newsome, obviously. So there's a lot of Bama ties there.
That's a pretty good one.
Right now, Bod Coach, and you can check him out, bod.coach/Bama, helping me stay in shape during the holidays. Mike, I like to eat. Everybody knows that. When I go to Pearl River and we go to Philip M. Steakhouse, I get the tomahawk cut. I get that that Pittsburgh sizzle, and I eat the hell out of it, right? And they're like, hey, I didn't know you could eat like that. But look, I'm going to enjoy this steak right now because Bod Coach is going to give me a workout that's going to help me burn this off. I'm going to turn that into protein with dumbbells, wherever I'm at. The best part about bod coach is that you get a text, you send out, hey, look, I want to do this muscle group today. I want to do this cardio. I got this weight set. I don't have any weights. And then they'll send you a workout that goes with you. I've actually hurt my back in a kickball championship a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, hey, I need an exercise where I can kind of do something, but not really exert my back. When I had my wrist injury, they did the same thing. I'm doing like push-ups like this. I didn't even know they existed because they send you the graphic on how to do all the exercises. So I didn't get to work with Scott Cochran, but I do get to work with Evan, my bod coach. Check it out right now at bod.coach/Bama. I think you guys will love that. So as we move on, right, and we get ready for this Oklahoma game in Tuscaloosa, this is the biggest game of the season for Alabama, I feel like. This is what they added Texas and Oklahoma to the conference for, right? The Georgia hosting Texas, the Bama hosting Oklahoma game, right?
Yep.
This is a marquee matchup for both of these schools right here. Are you glad that they added those two schools, or do you still feel like they're a little bit illegit?
I don't know, man. I don't like the wording of that question. The answer is somewhere in the middle, because do I love matchups like this? Abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, who doesn't like matchups like this? Do I feel like Oklahoma and Texas? Do I feel in my heart that they are SEC members? No, like it doesn't. This feels like a late season non-conference game for me right now. But
right,
the good thing is, even before this 12-team playoff, if you had a non-conference game like this, it would still have national championship aspirations. You'd still be trying to, build up the resume so that you can get in the BCS or the 4-team matchup or whatever it is. So, do I like these matchups? Sure. Will I eventually get used to Texas and Oklahoma being in the SEC? I don't know, maybe not, because I'm not used to Missouri being in it still.
Yeah, right.
And that's been a long time. It's been 13 years. So yeah, look, I'm trying to take it at face value, and you'll get the 9-game SEC schedule next year, and you'll get even more of this, man. But I think it's awesome. I've had people in Atlanta that are Bama fans being like, hey man, do you know anybody selling tickets this weekend? And I've talked to Georgia fans that are saying that, good Lord, man, the Texas fans that are trying to buy up their tickets in Athens this week is out of hand. This is the first time Texas has ever played in Athens, which is crazy. So I don't know. It's good to me for the SEC brand that you've got games like this and it's actually coming to fruition.
All right. I want to tell you guys about New Life Art and the crispy screen. I'm actually going to throw Shank on the screen for that. And then when this finishes playing, Mike, you're gonna talk about Parker Brailsford, who was the offensive lineman of the week, and why this guy is going to be a beast in the NFL.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for Daniel A. Moore's next Crimson Classic, the crispy screen, guys. What a name to commemorate the Fat Boys. This masterwork commemorates the screen pass to Caden Proctor that outsmarted Kirby and the Georgia defense. Proctor's catch and bulldog dozing run set up Ty Simpson's 3-yard touchdown just before the half, which was a big score for us, guys. Visit DanielMooreArt.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of a special pre-publication pricing for the crispy screen. Go ahead, get into that. Go get you one of those Caden Proctor prints. I'm super excited to get mine in because he's living a dream of all the Fat Boys. And go look up that crispy screen and get you one, guys.
Yeah, roll tide. I think all the big guys want to catch passes. Parker Brailsford, though, offensive lineman of the week, didn't get to catch a pass. But first off, Kalen DeBoer's guys from Washington, everybody that transferred with him, kicking ass. And this guy is, I don't even want to say an unsung hero because he sung. We're just singing. Know. We love him. Amazing how good this guy is.
We're singing. I've got an unsung hero award somewhere around here behind me. It was from a spring game or something. But look, man, Parker Brailsford is an absolute bulldog right there in the middle. And I think you bring up a good point. You talk about just him and Jeremy Bernard point blank. Where are you at offensively without either one of these guys? And you talk about an NFL career, I don't really know where that stands. He's a little bit undersized in terms of the NFL, but that makes it all the more impressive what he does in college football. I think he's listed at 290. I think that's probably about right. You get in the season, maybe you lose a little weight, but dude, he's bouncing all over the place. You can tell he's a cerebral guy in the middle of that offense. With the, I don't want to call it revolving door, but you've had issues at right and left guard, with some of the players you've attempted to put in situations and getting guys accustomed to playing and injuries. He's just been the glue really for the last 2 years in the middle of that offensive line that allows them to play at such a high level. You get these empty protections, and Ty Simpson and Brailsford are communicating, and they're picking out, where the safeties are rotating and where they feel like the blitz is coming from. And they try to do a lot of things, the right way to pick them up. So I could not be. I said on this podcast last year and absolutely drooled over Tyler Booker every week. Did I not? Guy ends up being a first-round pick. Brailsford, I don't think he has the physical tools that Tyler Booker has, but he does it up here at such a high level that he's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people tell me that, like NFL-wise, that when they watch Brailsford and then Ty Simpson, between the two of them, they're able to make a lot of adjustments at the line of scrimmage that are advanced for college football. Do you notice that? Do you see that as a guy that was a savant and, picking up defenses as well?
No doubt. There's no doubt. What's crazy is, so last year, I thought this is one of the things that Jalen Milroe struggled the most with, even with Brailsford in front of him. How many times, and I think it was South Carolina game, I think they were walking up like 5- and 6-man fronts and essentially pulling the right side in to block the A and B gap, and then you get an edge rusher or an edge blitzer. Jalen Milroe didn't have a hot route built in, and he didn't know where to go with the football, and then you just get hit, you get sacked. And then everybody looks at the offensive line and goes, dude, why can't we block anybody? It's like, it's just not that simple. You know what I mean? You can't just ricochet around and, have this guy fake you out and then bail out to block a different guy. And I think that's one of the beautiful things. I mean, look, I was just literally an hour ago talking about Michael Penix Jr. in the game this weekend. They're playing in Indianapolis. He gives somebody, this signal off to the side, and then he gets hit in the back and he fumbles the football because the protection on the right with the center and everybody else, they're not in communication. So Brailsford is that guy. I mean, he is the absolute alpha of that group. And having him in front of Ty Simpson, you can tell that there's a really good relationship and they understand each other really well.
It's exciting for Alabama, though, to have guys that can make a difference in those positions, right? We're in the positions that are the most important as far as like the mental aspect of the game, too. Now, another guy I want to talk about is Ryan Williams. Some big catches in this football game. I know he's had some drop issues. You can tell that he's working through. It's not a sophomore slump. It's just that he's a young kid who has he's supposed to be a freshman this year, right? But he's not. He's a sophomore, and you're asked to do more. It gets more difficult, but the guy has just something special that he has that other guys don't have. And I want you to explain it, but there's just something about this guy that I absolutely love through all the
ball skills. He's got incredible ball skills. I think his hands remind me of Julio's hands, and I think that Julio's got really good hands, and Julio always had great hands. But every now and then Julio would drop one and you'd be like, it's not like Jerry Rice level hands. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ryan Williams has those kind of hands. And you bring up a good point, man. I think we're just simply seeing the maturation process of Ryan Williams. And it seems ridiculous to say that because the guy's like on the front cover of the NCAA video game and all this stuff. But you have to remind yourself that even after you've spent a year and a half or whatever it is in a system, even though you still got to remind yourself what your mindset's like as a rich 18-year-old. You know what I mean?
Right.
like it's like, oh man, well, he's been there a year. He should learn from this. And it's like, dude, you're still an idiot until you're, a solid 20, whatever years old. You're still always going to be dumb and do dumb things and not understand the entire process you're going through or not understand, what this is, especially a guy that gifted, right? I mean, how many times has he shown up to an athletic event and just kind of rolled the ball out there and been like, well, this is going to work. And usually always has for him. So, man, he's got the it factor. I think that a lot of the praise that was heaped on him over the offseason, probably a little bit unfair because now he's got to live up to those expectations. And I think that becomes a mental struggle for him. But dude, he's fine. I know he had, 3 catches this past weekend. I know that you look at his stats and they seem somewhat empty over what you kind of expected of him, but He's going to be great, man. I think that next year, even more so, you'll see him start to settle into this system. Obviously, Kalen Moore's not going anywhere, so you get another look at, exactly how to fine tune these routes and your relationship with the quarterback position, and you take off running from there. And look, I'm happy he's in the program, and he seems to be playing with a lot of toughness here recently. A couple big catches in traffic over the last few games, and that's
one
really
for a
nice
touchdown.
to see.
Yeah, one for a touchdown, and Cuevas is the other guy, the tight end. That you got it. You just. Okay, you got all these other guys covered. We got Bernard covered. We got Ryan Williams covered. We got Lottie Brooks covered. We got Rico Scott covered. We got everybody covered. And then here he comes, Josh Cuevas, like, boom, catching the ball, bowling guys over, first downs, clutch.
Dude,
Love it.
Let me tell you, like I've been told before, there's two different kinds of receivers, right? There's ones that can get open and catch the ball, and there's ones that can catch the ball even when they're not open. And Ryan Williams and Cuevas are both guys that can catch the ball even when they're not open. And that's really awesome to see. Now, Jeremy Bernard, don't get me wrong, he can probably do both, but he's really good at getting open. Ryan Williams is too, but Ryan Williams is going to catch the ball even when he's not open. And, that's how you become a special receiver, I think, in this offense.
Yep, that's it, man. I love it. I love what they're doing. And again, guys, we'll be at Innisfree this Friday, 1:00 for the tailgate show. And we have me throwing these hats in the crowd. We're giving away a Daniel Moore print. We got a bunch of Yingling swag. So it's going to be a ton of fun as we preview Bama and
hey, Mick,
Oklahoma.
Mick, you started talking about my shirt earlier. You were
Send
like, "Hey, man, that's a cool shirt." Is that why? Are you trying to make light of the fact that you've been talking for months about sending me a shirt?
You never gave me your address.
Yeah, man. You know where my address
all
is.
you got to do is text me. I'll send one of these right here. I'll send
I don't know
two.
if you've ever been to this house, though. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't. I've been to your houses, but I don't know if I've been to that house.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you used to have when you got out of the NFL, when you were still, just throwing the cash out, you had the apartment right next to the stadium.
Living the dream, baby.
Boy, I was like, "Hey, Mick, you in town? Hey, just stay at the apartment." I was like,
go,
"Yeah,
baby.
I'm
Let's
in."
go.
All those years of having to work, and it was like, I miss those days, guys. We used to hang out. We had a crew of people that tailgated together.
That's how this show originated.
That's how it started. I know. We're still together, which is so funny to me. All right, last question, and then we're getting off here. And I got to tell you again that this is presented by our friends at Kalshi, and we got you covered with your opportunity to go to the exchange market and do it yourself. $10 free when you sign up with our link, which is Bama Tailgate, and you put down $100 at Kalshi. All right, Lane Kiffin, he just signed what is it? Or a room? Did he sign it, or he was given an extension at Ole Miss? So does that mean that he's going to be the coach at Ole Miss long term, or is he going somewhere else? And if he's going somewhere else, you give me the percentage. What's the percentage he's going to be the next coach at Florida?
I don't know, man. With this whole contract extension, I first of all, do we know that he definitely did a contract extension? Because I saw that
reported.
Okay, all right. Now I'm gonna be real. I saw that, and then somebody told me it was fake. So because I was shocked, I was like, "No way, Lane is signing an extension right now." Just knowing Lane, some of the stories I hear through the back channels, Lane Kiffin right now. I'm just gonna tell you, is loving the attention that he is getting right now. He is absolutely eating it up. I can tell you that for a fact.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I would say, I don't know. Let's call it, I'm just going to guess 20% that he's going to be the next head coach at Florida.
So the Kalshi market has the answer to this. And I love the fact that I agree with you. Exactly everything you're saying. There's no way that he's signing an extension right now. He'll accept an extension, but the odds of him, according to Kalshi, the Kalshi markets, being the next Gators head coach, 63%. And then
no way.
Well, that's what they feel like right now. That's where the money is. And $191,000 has been exchanged on this.
Wow.
Eli Drinkowitz is second at 13%. That I guess that surprises you a little bit. Look, Jed Fish, who's a Florida Gator grad, 11. Lincoln Riley, 9% up 2. But no, even with the word on the street being that Lane Kiffin had just been offered that extension, they still have him 63%.
Yeah,
Crazy.
would
Right?
I would lean more towards Drinkwitz in that job. He just feels like a Florida coach. I know that people think Lane does too. Drinkwitz to me just, of course, if I'm a Florida fan, I'm a little bit hesitant either way to just go hire another offensive coordinator that I feel like can turn things around. It's just like, how many times can you roll out the hot offensive coach and just see what happens? But I guess you got to keep plugging away because it's just not good down there right now.
Your former head coach shows up on the LSU coaching search. Nick Saban. I know. I'm going to put it up here
because he just turned 74. Can we leave this man alone?
Lane Kiffin is still on the Kalshi exchange market, the highest percent chance to be their coach at LSU. People have him at 37%, John Summerall at 16%, Nick Saban down 3 to 11%, and then Joe Brady hanging in there at 10%. He, of course, was the offensive coordinator in 2019, and now with the Buffalo Bills, who, by the way, took a 2 in the gang, shellacked them yesterday. But that one surprises me a little bit. But, I mean, look, LSU, when you fire a coach like they just did, I feel like they have to have a splash. And Lane Kiffin would be a splash.
He would be a splash. I just can't get over the fact that their governor called out Jimmy Sexton, his agent, in the middle of a freaking press conference. I mean, now. I mean, how many hurdles could you have possibly had to to hire in Lane Kiffin, and now you just added like 3 layers to it by insulting his agent and talking about buyouts. I mean, we just hit a whole new level in this whole ordeal. So I don't know. I think John Summerall would be a good one. That's an Alabama native, if I'm not mistaken. John Summerall. He was at Troy for a little bit. And at Tulane. I mean, that's a good hire, I think, but it wouldn't be the splash like you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely interesting. All right, final question. And one thing I love about Kalshi is that you get to do stuff other than sports. And we've talked about this before, Mike. You're a guy that can talk a lot of different subjects, not just football. Kelsey's legal in all 50 states. You get better odds, no house vig. Price is set by supply and demand. No limits. Winners don't get cut off. Live trading, flexibility, transparent pricing. But even better is it's not just football. It's politics, economy, Oscars, grammar, Grammys, pop culture, all that stuff. I would ask you about the government shutdown, although I think that they're about to end that. So I'm going to ask you something even more important and see what you think. Top U.S. iPhone app tomorrow, and I'll give you some lists. or what do you think? You just tell me, what do you think? And then I'll give you
Can I get can I just get like 5 options?
Okay, yeah.
Is this uses or downloads?
Top U.S. iPhone app tomorrow. So I guess that's when they release the list of the most,
I got you. Okay,
the hottest app. Okay, Threads, which is like that. It's almost like a Twitter for Facebook, kind of. Sora, which is open AI. Our friend Catfish makes these videos. I saw one. He's a mortgage guy. He made one the other day where he was Andy Griffith, and he was talking to Barney about mortgages. He had one where he was a wrestler and he runs down to the wrestling ring over some kind of a bad deal. Chat GPT and Go Wish, which is your digital wish list. Who's going to be the number one U.S. iPhone app?
I go with Chat GPT.
Yeah, you saw the answer.
No, I didn't. Well,
87% of the country agrees with you. You can do anything on there. Have you gotten into the
Go Wish? I was like, I'm not going with that.
I wish you would have said
those are all AI companies too. 3 of them are.
Yeah, right. I wish you would have said like Pokemon Go. something crazy. Yeah, the Chat GPT, it's changing the world as we know it. I mean, you can make a video on these of you as of Andy and just some other guy as Barney, and you just
I don't know if you do this, but
just,
we talked about, and this is going too deep. I know we got to go, but I was talking to our digital video coordinator the other day at work at 92.9 here in Atlanta, and he put out a video, and the question was a lot like we were just talking about. Is it more beneficial for Bama not to go to the SEC title game?
right.
Well, this post gets put on Twitter, and it's a video of this topic, and we're talking about this topic. And the video says, could Bama get a bye without playing in the SEC title game? And I was like, no, they're not going to get a bye. Like, they're probably not going to get a bye. I was like, why? So I texted him. I said, why did you say that? And he was like, oh, dude, I don't do any of that anymore. He's like, the AI just watches the video, takes the whole thing, tweets it out, I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, sorry. He's like, I'll fix it, but AI did that. I'm like,
my assistant.
This is insane. Like, what world are we living in? Like, this guy is an automated job. Your job is automated. Oh my God.
Hey, I need to hire this AI. Yeah, I need that stuff. People are like, what is he talking about? Hey, just click on the thing. Just click and watch. The video. That's all that matters here, folks.
Yeah.
Mike, awesome talking to you. All you guys, get in the comments section. Make sure that you check Mike out too. For those of you that are either Falcons fans or in the Atlanta area, Mike's on the morning radio every day. And I got to tell you, man, like I stayed the night at Lance Taylor's house this weekend. And, hung out, watched some football, and we talked about his days as a morning show host. And I have nothing but admiration now for what you do, getting up that early every day.
It's not for everyone, man. Luckily, I'm a morning person. You can see my eyes starting to droop right now. Luckily, I'm a morning person, man. That 3:50 a.m. alarm hits a little bit different, especially in the wintertime.
I bet, man. I hate the time change. Hate it. Don't give me the time change. Coker's like, oh, I love it because I get to the deer earlier.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. It gets dark at like 5 now. You can't do that at 6.
Yeah, it's even crazier on Eastern time, man.
Oh, I know. 4:00, everybody inside. Dinner bell's ringing. All right, listen, guys, like, subscribe, thumbs up, roll tide, everybody. Thank you for being here. Mike and I will be back together on Monday. Also, the show's brought to you by Golden Moon Casino, Pearl River Resort, the Timeout Sports Lounge. You got 20 big screen TVs. You got the window. You got the kiosk. You got everything you need. A bar that's full size. You don't have to pay for your table in there, which is amazing after I just got back from Vegas, just trying to watch a game and maybe have a few drinks at the Cosmo. Thumbs down, Cosmo. You charged us $250 to sit at a table. Not at Pearl River Resort. Beer prices are good there. And again, you got table games and slots. You got the sports book. You got Dancing Rabbit Golf Course, Philip M. Steakhouse. You got a lot of great restaurants like Mama and Them's, only an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. All right, roll tide, everybody.
I may not suit up on Saturdays anymore, but I'm still in the game.
Let's roll.
In here, I call the plays, make adjustments, and lay it on the line. Want to feel that fire, that rush? Then you've got to get in the game. I used to say it in the tunnel, and I still say it now. Let's roll.